G'day folks, it is currently Monday the 29th of September 2025, so it is public holiday today. I think it's nationwide for the King's birthday, so we've all got a long weekend, but I am of course working because I don't ever stop. And so I wanted to talk a bit about our new virtual reception that we got set up, just to talk about the progress. I think we're about almost a month in. Yeah, I think we're about a month into this being live, maybe 3 weeks, and we've had a lot of success with it so far. We've had some teething problems just with getting things, properly set up and adjusting to the new system, but it's been a lot more good than bad. So we're going to talk about that. I'm not sure how much I've talked about it in previous episodes, but basically I've set up this VoIP system, which stands for Voice over Internet Protocol. It's basically a way where you can have a phone system that's kind of based in the cloud that you can access from any device using an internet connection rather than your standard mobile data that pings off towers and stuff. So that's what it is. It's kind of like if you use Skype. If you used Skype back in the day, that's pretty much the same thing. You can call over Wi-Fi. Someone else can log into your Skype account, use your same, number, quote unquote, or your Skype account to call people. We've got the same setup here. Anyone can log into their account from anywhere in the world and they can call from the same exact number, and it will show up on the recipient's caller ID as, Applecross, Western Australia or Perth, Western Australia, even if that person is calling from, say, the Philippines, like our virtual assistant. So I went out and hired a brand new virtual assistant for the role. Her name's Nicole. She's been in training for a while, and yeah, it's been going pretty good. So the main thing that I was excited to get Nicole to do, which she's been doing great, is the cold calling. So I figured, things aren't going to be super busy. If she's just handling inbound calls, she's going to have a lot of downtime throughout the day. And so I came up with a simple script based on some things I've learned over the years, and I gave it to her and I said, the last couple hours of every day, just do 50 cold calls to a list of businesses that I'll generate you using this AI tool I've got. And so she did cold calls for a week. She did them all of the week before last week. So the reason I had to stop her doing them last week is because we had so much success with it and we got so many appointments booked. I had to say, look, just pump the brakes for a second because I need to consolidate all of this and figure out where we stand. So she was doing 50 cold calls a day over the course of a week. So she did about 350 if my math is not completely incorrect. And from those 350 cold calls, we got 20 walkthroughs booked, which is incredible. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a pretty good conversion rate. And so from those 20 walkthroughs we booked, we've sent 20 quotes. So far, we've gotten 5 clients, and we're still waiting to hear back from obviously the other 15 or so. I don't know if anyone has actually, explicitly denied or rejected our quotes yet. But a lot of these places already have cleaners, and so we're giving a lot of them comparison quotes. So we're not actually expecting to close all of those, but that also helps us when we go to get the walkthrough, which I'll talk about now. So our cold call script is very simple. So if you think about it in the sense that like cold calling to a lot of people seems scary because you think about cold calling similar to door knocking where, someone selling solar might go around a neighborhood and knock on a bunch of doors and they get hit with a lot of no's and they get a lot of negative pushback, and a lot of people get angry about these like solar hawkers and like JWs and other people just going around door to door selling stuff. And we have like this association with people getting angry about being solicited to with cold outreach and door knocking and cold calling. And I think it creates a mental block in a lot of business owners' brains because they don't want to face that same backlash and that same heat from doing cold outreach. But the reality is, we're selling a service that every single business needs. If that business has a headquarters, if they have an office, if they have, a factory, they need it to be cleaned. And it's just a matter of if they're doing it themselves or they've already got an existing cleaner in there, or maybe they had a cleaner, but they don't anymore. And so they need a new one. So whatever of those 3 options you pick, the bottom line is that place needs to be cleaned. So if you call up a business offering cleaning services, you're never going to get hit with any like negative pushback. You're never going to get someone angry at you on the other line. Like, why would I want solar? I don't want to sell solar. Stop calling me, you people. We're never going to get something like that. And so Nicole did 350 cold calls over the course of a week. and I listened to quite a few of the recordings, gave her a lot of feedback because obviously this is her first time working in a cleaning business. She's still understanding a lot of stuff. And so a lot of those calls were pretty awkward, and there was a lot of awkward pauses where she was trying to figure out what to say next, if it went off script. And I gave her a lot of objections and questions and answers based on what people ask. But still, sometimes you go down a bit of a fork in the road and she didn't know how to respond. So a lot of awkward calls, but we still got a lot of appointments booked. So it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how well you do it. It just matters that you show up and do it. So yeah, I listened to a lot of the recordings. They were good. And the common thread between, I'd say like 80% of the businesses that she called was that they already had a cleaner in there. But if they're allowing us to come do a walkthrough, what does that tell you? It tells you that they're probably not overly happy with the current service. And that's also a big thing that we see when we landed a lot of our commercial contracts that we have now. We'll go in to do a quote, and this is someone soliciting us, not the other way around. So they found us on Google or TikTok or Facebook or whatever it is. And they bring us in and they tell us that they've got cleaners in there that are doing an atrocious job and they just want to switch providers and they want to do it ASAP. So a lot of these places have cleaners because, as we talked about, businesses need cleaning, but the bar is so low in this industry that a lot of businesses simply aren't happy with the standard of work being done. So they bring someone like us in, they're blown away by our communication, our service offering, our brand, all of that stuff. They switch over to us. We do the bare minimum. We just do what they want done, and they're over the moon with it. And they're like, oh my God, why didn't we switch to you guys sooner? Oh my God, I can't believe we had those other people in here. And it's like, yeah, that is really how easy it is. So doesn't matter how awkward the call is. Doesn't matter if these people already have cleaning. You're never gonna encounter any harsh objections on the phone. It's never gonna be a hard sell. And so what we do is our script is really simple. I've had Nicole calling the business and just asking if the person on the other end of the line is the right person to speak to about cleaning over there. If they say yes, great, we go into the next thing. If they say no, they say, oh, great, could you point me to the right person to speak to about your cleaning arrangement at that business? And then they do. As soon as you're on the phone with the right person to speak to about it, you just offer them, a simple introduction to who you are, what you do, value proposition, pretty much a simple elevator pitch. And then you ask them if they want a free quote. Now they either say yes or they say, we already have a cleaner. Now, if they say we already have a cleaner, it's very simple. You just say, look, most of our clients already had cleaners when we got them. And for whatever reason, they just weren't really happy with the standard of service or communication or whatever it may be, or price. And so what we would like to do for you is we'd like to do a free, no obligation comparison quote. So we'll just come by for like a 10-minute walkthrough. It won't take up much of your time. And we'll put together a very detailed service proposal that you can compare to your current cleaning plan. It's going to be like a 15-page document, but don't worry, it's very easy to consume and it has every detail you need to be able to make an informed decision on if we would be a better value to your current cleaners, whether it be on price, communication, service, or whatever it is. So that's our pitch. It's very simple, and we've had a lot of success with it in the first week of trialing it. So yeah, it's been really good. And even with Nicole, who's, she's a Filipino virtual assistant, so her English isn't amazing. And this is her first time working in the cleaning business, so there's a lot of things she doesn't know, and the calls were definitely a little bit awkward, but it was still working. It was still converting. And so I can only imagine how much better this would work if I was the one actually doing the cold calls, which I'm actually going to be doing next week. I'm going to be cold calling using the same the script, and I'm just making a few tweaks to it. And that's pretty much it. Like I used Nicole as a bit of a tester for this because I know that I want to do cold calls myself. I just wanted to get the script right without having to do hundreds and hundreds of reps. So I was able to, really refine that script, and I didn't have to spend a lot of time doing it. So we have made changes. We have a new script. We tested it on the last day of the week that we were doing the cold calls, and we had a much higher conversion. So I'm very happy with how that went. It definitely blew away my expectations. I thought we would maybe get 5 to 10 walkthroughs, but we completely smashed through that estimate. And it was my kind of first experience with really doing cold outreach. It's not something I've done before. I've done it through email. I've set up cold outreach automated campaigns, like AI campaigns, but I've never done cold outreach over the phone. I did it for a couple of days just when I had some downtime, and I didn't have any success with it. I didn't really book many walkthroughs, and it's because I didn't have the right script and I wasn't looking through the right lens. But I had this idea from, I think it was Zeke Galloway, who is the owner of New Era Facility Services, I think is the name of his business. He's like nationwide now, and pretty much the way he's built his business is through cold outreach. And he has a simple or a similar system to what we do, and he goes in with the preconceived notion that they've already got a cleaning service. So his whole pitch is just to deliver a comparison quote for their current cleaners to compare to. And he'll obviously compete on price. I'm guessing he uses a lot of subcontractors since he is nationwide, and so that's his thing. I kind of took a bit of inspiration from that, added my own spin to it, and added some other stuff in there as well. And with the power of our brand, with the power of our quality, we have a very good service offering that we deliver to clients, and the fact that we're an all-employee company, we're very reputable within our service areas. With that combined with this script and the volume at which we're going to be pumping this out, we're going to have a lot of success with this over the coming months. And this was my whole growth strategy a few months ago. If you remember, I talked about in previous episodes, I said my growth strategy now is just to go hard in on commercial and just really scale up our revenue through attaining commercial contracts. And the way to do that would be through pretty much either networking or cold outreach. So that's what's happening now. We've done quite a few of these quotes. As I said, we've done a few dozen, and we've already signed a few of them. I think the value of the ones we've signed is close to $100,000 a year. So that's a pretty good result to make $100,000 a year worth of revenue in the span of a week using a Filipino virtual assistant that has had not a lot of training, and it's her first time working in this industry. So very, very good result. I can only imagine what we do over the course of 3 months with me also doing the cold calling as well. So yeah, our goal is to pretty much double our revenue over the next 12 months, but do it in a low volume way, meaning we don't double our customer base, because we've got 350 customers now. I don't want to get another 350 and have 700 customers. Can only imagine the amount of, we'd probably have to expand our customer service team and all that stuff and quality control team. So I'd like to, get a handful of big commercial clients that we attain through cold outreach and similar stuff. And that way we can double our revenue and utilize all the existing resources we have to be able to service those clients and pretty much just boost our profit margin. Because that's where we're at now. We have the infrastructure now where our profit margin as of right now is like the lowest it'll ever be. And it's not even low. It's like a pretty good profit margin. But because we've already got all the infrastructure, like the software, I've got the management team in place with their pay structures and, all the other stuff. There's like other ancillary costs that'll go up in proportion to revenue and wages, like cleaning chemicals. If we got more cleaners, we'll be buying more of that. But right now, our costs are pretty fixed. Our costs are pretty hard. So if we double our revenue, based on our current numbers and our current running costs, we will increase our profit margin, our net profit margin, by a very, very large percentage. Like I'm talking like 40%. So, or even 50%. I can't remember what the exact number was, but it's very exciting stuff. So that's pretty much all I've been doing for the last 12 months. I've just been laying the foundation for us to be able to grow at scale in a controlled and predictable and measurable way. Because, the first few years of my business, or even the first, probably up until I started to really think about this and work on this about 12 months ago, it was just flying blind. It was doing what was working and doing it fast and hard, and like marketing hard, getting sales, and not really worrying about much else. Like sales was paramount to everything at that point. If I could just get clients, we'll figure out what to do later. But then my strategy had to change when we went through this really rapid period of growth, and it just backfired. It went south. We lost a bunch of staff. We lost a bunch of clients. We didn't take a huge hit, but we took a hit that was big enough to kind of wake me up. And I was like, I need to adjust my strategy and actually create more of a vision and a picture for the future. So that's what I've been doing over the last 12 months. And this was kind of like the final final piece of the puzzle that I had to put together. So now we have all the infrastructure that's going to allow us to double our revenue and increase our net margins over the next year. And then we'll move on to the next phase, which will be franchising, as that's something else I've been talking about quite a lot. I'm very excited to explore that opportunity as well. And so I just wanted to hop on here and share a bit about that cold outreach experience, because I'm sure that'll be some valuable insight to some of you who are wanting to do that, but just don't really know how to tackle that quite yet. So yeah, very successful first week, especially given that the person doing the cold calls was, pretty much a complete beginner. So you can't really get much worse than that. And that's not a knock on Nicole, my new receptionist. She's great. She's got a great attitude. But if she can do it, if she can book us 30, commercial walkthroughs in 1 week, I think that anyone can. If you're listening to this right now, if you have the ambition and the drive to do it, you will probably get better results. So jump in and do it. Just start doing cold calls, whether it be today, tomorrow, next week. Just start slow. Start with like 5 cold calls a day, and then do 10, and then do 20. And then whenever you get some free time, if you just get a spare hour in your day, just dedicate that to doing some form of cold outreach. Or it doesn't even have to be calling. You can start with emailing. You can even start joining some networking events. But this is a surefire way to grow your business in a steady and quick way. And then if you couple that with a system like ours, when it comes to our commercial cleaning proposals, we have like this AI streamlined workflow for our commercial proposals. So every time Stacey or I does a quote for a business, we run it through this workflow. It generates a 15 to 18 page document that's fit with all of our insurances. It has our all of the info about our business, reasons why they should book us, and then it also generates them an AI cover letter. So it'll be addressed to the person we did the walkthrough with. It'll be really nice, and it doesn't sound like it's from a computer. It uses details that they talked about during the walkthrough and also other context about their business and our business. And it generates an AI cleaning services schedule. So it details every room, every area in that business or in that site, and all the inclusions with that. And it also has a bunch of other stuff that it pre-fills out. And we can actually do that while we're still at the site. So Stacey will just quickly send a message to our Slack chat, and then just with some details about who she's with, what they talked about. And then that gets input into our AI workflow system, and that generates the 15 to 18 page document. And it's pretty funny where Stacey can just be like, oh, by the way, I've already sent that proposal to you, or our office already sent that proposal to you. And they look at their phone, check their email, and they've got this like really nice looking proposal document with all the information about the business that they just talked about. And it's like, whoa, how did you do that? It's like magic. So it's really cool. If you can couple a great cold outreach system with a great quoting mechanism and follow-up mechanism of actually delivering a really high quality proposal, then you basically get a license to print money, for a lack of a better word. That's pretty much what it is. We are printing money with this system, and we're going to continue to print money at a larger scale. So that was it for today. If you have any other things you'd like me to talk about a bit more in depth, feel free to send me a message on TikTok, Instagram, or wherever you can find me, or even leave a comment under this podcast on whatever platform you're listening to this on, and I'll be happy to make an episode about it. Obviously, I've done so many episodes at this point, I'd be lying if I said I'm not struggling to think of things to talk about, but give that a go. Do some cold outreach. Take it from me, it's not very hard. You can be a complete amateur and sound really awkward on the phone and still close a lot of deals. So I'm a very happy person right now. I've completed, a very big stage of the journey I'm on. Something I've been working on over the last 3 months, just setting up this whole reception and refining a lot of systems and consolidating a lot of back end like management stuff. So I'm sitting in a pretty good position now. I've got a very, very good business, very layered strategically with contingencies and people and systems. And, I'm very happy with where things are at now. And it would be very, very improbable for us to fail at this point pretty much because we have such a strong business now. So very happy with how things are going. And, I'm just one step closer to that lifestyle business. I can pretty much detach myself and disconnect from the business and go anywhere I want for a month and come back, and it would have grown without me. So it's a very cool thing. And, that doesn't just happen by chance. It's a series of calculated and strategic moves over a period of time. So if you want to build a business like this, if that is your end goal, which I'm sure it is for a lot of people, this is why we go into business for the most part, then it is entirely possible. All it comes down to is the way your mindset is oriented and your expected timeline to achieve that. The biggest issue I see with people is that they have really, really high expectations and a really short timeline for achieving what they expect to achieve or they set out to achieve. If I wanted to get to where I am now in a year, I would be left pretty disappointed and, maybe burnt out even. So, I think that's all it comes down to. The way your mindset is, the length of the timeline of which that you set to achieve what you set out to achieve, and also just creating a clear idea and understanding of how you're actually going to get there. So I think anyone can do it. It just really comes down to mindset and overall action, because a lot of people either don't take action or they lack the right mindset, or it's a mixture of both. And unfortunately, I see that all too often. There's so many people that will message me and ask me for help, and they haven't even listened to these podcasts, which are completely free. And there's now 40 hours worth of them to dig through. And it's you clearly don't even really want to help yourself. You just want someone to hand you success, and success will never be handed to you. You have to work for it, and it takes time. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. It's a tough pill that they don't seem to want to swallow. So just take it from me, take it from a lot of other people that are way more successful from me, because they'll all say the same thing. It's going to take time. It's going to take the right mindset, and it's going to cost money. You're going to have to come to terms with the fact that you're going to have to spend money to make money, and also spend money to learn the necessary skills to get to where you want to be. So there is that option, and there's also the option of you can just continue to be a hamster on a wheel, running and running and running, and cleaning your whole life if you really want to, and making a decent amount of money. That's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to build a lifestyle business, that's how you do it. And so with that being said, thank you so much again for listening to another episode of Self-Made. If this is your first episode that you've ever listened to, then welcome. There's 90 other episodes you can go through now, and there's going to be a lot more episodes to come, hopefully. So enjoy the rest of your week and take action. Bye.